Targets, let's be very clear. This is legislation that targets white people. It is racial because the people who carry in the Capitol are primarily white. People who have CPLs are primarily white. And this is retaliation for the only demographic that overwhelmingly voted to support Donald Trump. And that is why it is being taken out on us, because you don't like us, and that's how it is. If we want to address gun violence, we would be focusing on the people who bring guns into communities and shoot people, like where I live in Detroit and where you represent, Stephanie Chang, which are overwhelmingly 13 to 34-year-old sub-Saharan African. Those are the people who...
Move on.
I am testifying.
Thank you for your
testimony. I'm not timed out.
Yep.
Ladies, did you send your man a picture today? If you didn't, this is your friendly reminder, you still have time. Send your man a picture. I try and send my man pictures on a regular basis, but when he is working and gone for an entire week like he is this week, I make sure to send him a picture of all 5'9" or 10 of this sugar, a lot of spice, and everything nice. It is my civic duty to remind that man what he has waiting on him at home so that he is motivated to come home safely in one piece. And sending him a picture actually kills two birds with one stone, because not only does it motivate him and remind him what he has at home, it also reminds him that if he can handle all of this and all that I come with, then he can certainly handle anything on that job site and anything that's thrown at him at work. Piece of cake. So ladies, send that picture. I don't even care if it's a selfie or an outfit of the day picture. Motivate that man. Let him know you're thinking about him and you miss him, and make sure he comes home safe, but also remind him that he is capable of literally anything, and you are living proof of that.
Donald Trump is a racist. If you say that Donald Trump is a white supremacist, white nationalist, if you say that he's mean, he's nasty, he's gonna crack down on us, then I say good, God. Let the crack down on us, because we need to wake up to reality, and we're never gonna wake up to reality and do something for ourselves and stand up for ourselves as long as we're under the illusion that a black face in high place means real change. But I'm sorry to say this, and sorry that everybody, Kamala Harris had been elected in the office, we'd be going right to sleep right now. I mean, we just go right on off to sleep. She would get up there smiling with all that joy, and we would say, oh, we done made it. We done made it on to the White House, y'all. We done made it on. You wouldn't want to hear from me right now if Kamala Harris had gained the White House. You wouldn't want to hear from a black nationalist, Malik Zulu Shabazz, and this black talk of freedom and independence and liberation. You would be happy that you had a black face in the White House. You would be happy that you had Megan Thee Stallion dancing at the White House and the other woman. You would be happy if you was like Roland Martin. He'd be rolling his big behind up into the White House. And Bakari Sellers and Van Jones. Van Jones would just, he wouldn't even be crying. He'd be happy. All the Negroes would be at the White House, and the masses of our people would not be moving nowhere.
So because this is all under teaser, all of this will have to be tossed. They've counted every single last one of these, so we cannot save or use any of them.
Can we get your badge number, sir?
Badge numbers and the name.
You won't give us your badge number? There goes your food. Can we get your badge number, sir?
6333.
And your name?
Herzog, H-E-R.
I want to say shout out to the officials there in government who voted in the right direction of history to get rid of child marriages. At no point in time should this have even been on the books. This is something that should have been eradicated eons ago. We're not living in the Stone Ages. We're not living in the Middle Ages. We're not living in the Dark Ages. We're not living in Rome. We're not living in Greece. This should have been struck down eons ago. And again, shout out to everybody who supported, who voted, and who made sure to get this directly off of the books. And this is why I always state to protect the kids directly out there, because if the adults do not do it, then who will? The thing that should take place is if those who did not vote to strike it down are still there and they wanted to keep child marriages on the books, throw them in jail, throw them in prison, make sure they are stripped of their seats and replace them with somebody else who actually cares really about the kids. I just want to say it's a crazy thing to know that there's an Asian woman representing Detroit. Not sure exactly how that happened, how that took place. I may need to check the population of Asians in Detroit, which to my knowledge is not a lot, but here we are. Second of all, you got this guy who was obviously a Trump supporter. He said it. I didn't. He said overwhelmingly his majority voted to get Trump directly into office and that these laws are meant, or this is in retaliation for the way that it is that majority decided to vote. And he was stating that primarily the ones that are the utmost violent, because he lives in Detroit, right? He lives there. He didn't grow up there. I can promise you that. He wasn't born and raised and grew up there. He didn't go to the black schools, and no, he just got there. I can promise you that one. So he's primarily trying to state that the sub-Saharan African individuals, because that's not the word that he used, individuals are the ones causing the issues and causing the problems. These are his words, not mine. I find it funny that when I point out the fact of a certain demographic who seems to ooze this type of racist sentiments very often, very openly, and I also point out who it is that they voted for, people tend to have an issue or a problem. And I'm like, why is that? Because when I point out the crazy things that Democrats do, people don't really say that much. But when I point it out on the Republican side, you'll have some people that are iffy, that want to voice their opinions, that want to say some things. And I primarily try to tell people that I'm an equal opportunist. So I've critiqued Obama, I've critiqued Biden, I've critiqued Kamala Harris, and I've critiqued Trump. All four. All four. But, you know, it is what it is. People will only pay attention to what it is that they want to pay attention to. All I'm stating is that this demographic who voted for Trump seem to like to dibble and dabble in racist rhetoric and language when it deals with people who don't look like them and who are not the majority in the United States. I'd like to say shout out to this woman because she is 100% correct. For a lot of women out there who always wonder, oh, I wonder if he has a wondering eye. I wonder if he's thinking about this, think about that. Send him pictures. If you know that your guy is out there working, he's bringing home the money, he is supporting you, making sure that you don't have to work, or pretty much you can save up your money. His money is, quote unquote, as women like to say, our money, and your money is your money. If you know that your guy is out there doing that for you, making an easy life for you, this is a very simple thing that you can do. This is a very simple gesture that you could simply do, and it'll also keep him interested in you every single day, because this is something that nobody else is doing. This is you primarily doing that for him. But as I've stated before, a lot of women don't want to pay attention or listen to common sense They think that one thing is going to keep a man occupied when this is a multifaceted situation. But again, this is just the guy just speaking. What do I know? Just want to say shout out to his brother for delivering this message, because throughout me doing these videos, that's been my same message. I've continuously told people I don't have a dog in this race, even though a lot of people keep coming through. Oh, are you a Trump supporter? Did you vote for Trump? Why would it matter who I voted for? It wouldn't matter at all. But again, like I said before, I don't have a dog in this race. So if people can't understand that and read directly into that, I don't know what to tell you. Maybe you deserve to be on the short bus. But again, the brother's pointing out the same exact thing that I've stated multiple times, even back during the pandemic, that even when I voted, and I voted back when Obama first got in office, I thought it was a joyous occasion. I thought it was something great. I also did it for my grandmother and for those in her generation who were told that there would never be such a thing to ever happen in the history of their lives. But at the same time, we realized over time that it was a simple sleeping spell. They went to the school of Harry Potter and they just sprinkled a little bit of dust and they were like, hey, we're going to give you this thing that pretty much is reflective of you. You're going to vote for it and you're going to think that everything is cured just because you see this one thing directly out there, even though you are not the majority in the United States, nor do you make up the majority when it deals with law enforcement, nor do you make up the majority when it deals with the government. So again, a simple sleeping spell. And because you had that simple sleeping spell for 8 years, Black people thought that everything was cool, everything was fixed, there was no such thing as racism, yada, yada. These are the same talking points that others like to use as well, because there was somebody melanated in office. But even under the Obama administration, what did you see? Racism for those 8 years. And what did you see under the Biden administration? Racism. What did you see directly under the Trump administration when he was in office the first time? Racism. What are you going to get this time? Racism. So the main point is, if it takes for Trump to get into office, for Black people to wake up, to finally move around and actually do something, so be it. Let these 4 years happen. If it takes for everything to collapse around Black people, for them to start moving and doing the things that need to be done, let it all collapse. If it takes for the whole world to burn, for Black people to finally get up and start moving, let everything burn. Because if we had Kamala Harris, as he stated, in office, again, Black people would have went directly to sleep. Better yet, if Kamala Harris would have been in office, Black women would have felt empowered, but they also would have been asleep at the same time and given a false sense of security and safety, because they see somebody that they think or feel is reflective of them in office. It was the exact same thing that happened directly to Black men. It would have been the same exact cycle, just a different flip of the coin. The white people out there, what's going on with y'all? Anytime that I would watch road rage compilations on YouTube, I would primarily see you guys every single time. It don't matter if it's over there in the UK. It don't matter if it's in Russia or Germany. It doesn't matter if it may be in Australia. It doesn't matter if it's in Canada or if it's in America. Primarily, I would always see you guys doing this type of road rage behavior for whatever reason. Somebody may have flipped you off. Somebody may have cut you off. But this is primarily what you guys like to do. You guys have a problem. You have an anger problem. You have an emotional problem. But you primarily always want to state that it's everybody else that is problematic. It's everybody else that can't guard or control their emotions. It's everybody else that lacks that type of intelligence, when realistically it's you on film, on 4K, doing all of this stump the yard dance work on somebody else's vehicle and car, and you're barely able to even hold your own balance while doing it, and you look even worse than a child. It's crazy. This is the craziest tantrum that I've seen from a grown man ever in my life. Hopefully this man doesn't have kids. This is what happened. On July 3rd, the Michigan Department of Agriculture and Rural Development, or MDARD, ordered the destruction of $90,000 worth of raw dairy products from Nourish Cooperative in Marcellus, Michigan. The action followed a May 28th raid where the cooperative was found selling raw dairy labeled as pet food under a feed license, a common practice in other jurisdictions, but not permitted under Michigan's feed licensing regulations. Nourish Cooperative, founded in September of 2023 by first-generation regenerative farmers, aim to provide high-quality, nutrient-dense foods such as low PUFA eggs, raw milk, and grass-fed meats. The cooperative's mission aligns with a broader movement towards sustainable and regenerative agriculture, which seeks to work harmoniously with nature to produce food for humans and animals. Quote, by producing food rich in nutrients and low in harmful PUFAs, we empower families to make informed choices that support long-term well-being. Despite Michigan being a herd share state where consumers must join private membership associations to acquire raw dairy products, the state issued a cease and desist order to the cooperative for regulatory violations. The unannounced raid by MDARD involved 4 state inspectors who scrutinized the cooperative's facilities for 4 to 5 hours. According to rawmilk.com, the destroyed food was produced to the same standards as it would have been for herd share distribution, but the state of Michigan denied the co-op's request to keep the food for themselves or restructure it under a private membership association. During the destruction on July 3rd, 2 MDARD employees supervised as Nourish Cooperative staff were forced to dump the seized products. Michigan, like many other states, has a complex regulatory environment for raw dairy products. While raw cheese ages for 60 days and is legal to sell and buy, other raw dairy products face stricter scrutiny. The sale of raw milk, for example, is strictly regulated. State laws prohibit the retail sale of unpasteurized milk due to the concerns over foodborne illnesses that can be transmitted through such products. That's great and all. I understand where the state of Michigan is coming directly from, but you just wasted $90,000 worth of product that they could have easily used. Again, in the video, you saw everything from milk to cheese to butter and maybe a few other things that ended up being destroyed that could have actually been used just for the people there. But they were like, no, we're going to just destroy all of it. That was a waste of product. But again, this is what the state likes to do. When they can't control something and they want to prove a point, they will go overboard and they'll just take out and destroy all of it. Also, on top of that, this is not the first time that I've seen a unannounced raid, nor is this the first time I've covered an unannounced raid happening to, let's say, an establishment such as food, such as people making marijuana, smoke shops, different things of that nature. You've had these raids on legal, let me repeat myself, legal establishments, people that procured their license legally. They pay their taxes and all other fees that they are supposed to pay. Their establishment is in good standings and they're doing what it is that they are supposed to do legally under the color of the law. But for whatever reason, again, the state likes to do a little bit too much. They want to push their weight around, let people know, hey, we're here, we're watching you, this, that, and the third. Again, this is an overreach. There would have been another method to this if, as stated, that they would have just allowed people who wanted to buy the raw goods, they would have just had to go for a private membership. So the people there, they could have just restructured it so that the goods could still be used and sold only for those who are under that private membership. Again, this was a clear-cut waste of food. But again, as I've covered to you guys before, this is what the state, this is what the city, this is what the government likes to do. I've also showcased videos to you guys where we have people in the United States, everyday citizens, that want to go out there and they want to help and feed the homeless. And they get ticketed for feeding the homeless. Literally, the police will come out there several times a day. They will come out there several times a week. And they will give these people several tickets, of which they have to go to court for because they're helping out people who are not able to help out themselves. Because it's about control. Because at the end of the day, the government states that they don't want you dependent on them, but realistically, they want you 100% dependent on them. They don't want you to do for self. But anyways, let me know what you guys think about this video and everything that I stated in the comment description below. And as always, peace, love, and stay tuned for the next video.